Look. So this is something I did 3 years ago. Wow. Art festival bingo. I should probably make a new one for 2026, but these are honestly all things I've heard or seen or been told at art festivals. Like, I'll just go down the rolls. Like, I could do that. Yeah. Being too hot. Yep. Especially in like July, August, it gets pretty rough. Someone tearing down early. Yep. That always happens. I'll come back later. If I had $1 for every time I heard that at an art festival, I would not have to worry about making booth. Stroller dog. You always see plenty of dogs and strollers at art festivals, which is fine. Rain. Yep. It happens. Like, you just, people complain about how it rains every year at East Lansing Art Festival. I'm like, yeah, it rains every year. So you plan on it raining every year. And if you plan on it raining every year and you go into it knowing, or at least being prepared for it to rain, you should be ready for it and be okay. It's one of the reasons I upgrade to a fancy art festival tent in 2020, which wasn't the best year to do that. But anyway, that's why I did that, because I got tired of dealing with rain, and the one I got is waterproof and handles anything short of a hurricane it can handle. Then we got kids with melting ice cream. Always great when they come in and start touching stuff. Load in free for all. I've had experienced some of those where I go to art festivals and there is absolutely no order or plan as to what goes on when it comes to load in. You're just like given free reign, and I always make note of that. And more often than not, do not come back to that festival, because I like it when things are organized and there's a plan and like there's clear traffic lanes and etc. Giant dog, always fun to see those at art festivals. No shortage of that. The economy, I'm confident I'm going to hear that a lot this summer. That's part of the reason I'm only doing 2 shows at the moment. I applied to East Lansing, and then also I applied for one in Midland. I have not heard back about that yet. I'm pretty confident I'll get into that, but you never know. Will you take a check? I have been asked that at least once, and my answer is always no. It's nothing personal, but no, I will not take a check. I can take Venmo, PayPal, cash, card, Apple Pay, Google Pay, pretty much anything, but I will not take a check. You should do a children's book. Another one. If I had $1 for every time I've heard that, that would have paid for my tent 2 times over at this point, probably. Because of my art style, I get told that constantly, and I have to bite my tongue and say, to not say, like, do you know how much work that is? Like, or are you hiring me to do it? Because, yeah. I mean, I always appreciate it. It's meant as a compliment. I take it as a compliment, but doing books are a lot of work, and yeah. Free, just kidding. Nothing is free. That's true. Nothing is ever free. I can't even draw a straight line. I hear that constantly, to which I now say, like, so straight lines are boring. Too cold. I definitely had that at some art festivals. Especially when you get into September, October. Because of one we did a couple years ago in October, I have said I will no longer do outdoor festivals in October, because it was seriously like 40 degrees barely. And if it had been raining, we probably would have caught pneumonia. Stroller cat. See a lot of stroller cats. They're always welcome. They're a welcome sight, that's for sure. Bless their little fuzzy hearts. Let's see. My kid could do that. Yeah, I've definitely heard that a bunch of times. To which I say, good. Encourage them to draw. We need more artists. Do you have a business card? You hear that all the time, especially now since I actually stopped um, leaving them out. So people actually have to talk to me to get a business card because they're not free. You know, I don't do that to be mean or anything. It's just um, I'd rather at least people acknowledge me before taking a business card, and I don't mind giving them one if they ask. But you will have people, especially kids, who will just come into your tent and just look for stuff and grab it and not say anything. Your prices used to be lower. I did get that at an art festival a few years ago. You know, it is what it is. I'm like, hey, everything else gets more expensive. Why can't I raise my prices? I gotta survive too, you know? Price haggler. I've absolutely had that before. And usually I have no patience for that. If they're paying cash, that's one thing. I will negotiate if it's a reasonable offer and they're willing to pay cash up front. That's the one time I will negotiate. But flip tent, I have unfortunately seen that too many times. So my advice is get the best tent you can afford. I realize as someone who started out, for me, that was starting out was an easy up, but there are benefits to easy ups. They are easy to set up. They're easy to transport. They're easy to take down. They're fast to take down. However, they do not handle any kind of weather well. If it's not a 60-degree sunny day with no wind, you're really rolling the dice on easy ups. You need to have a lot of weight to keep them down because they are essentially a sail on hollow aluminum supports. And if you don't have them weighed down, they will fly away. No problem. So if that's what you have to start with, that's fine. That's what I started with too. But if you at any point you can upgrade to something like a professional tent, I definitely recommend it because I've not had that problem since, again, I invested in a professional art festival tent a few years ago. It takes longer to set up. It's heavy. It's a lot of pieces, but it's waterproof and does not flip over. I still weigh it down though. You still have to have weight on it, but it's the only thing that's ever happened to it was I came to a festival, like there was a lot of wind the night before and it had moved, like one corner had moved like half a foot out into the street. That was it. And that's the only time I've ever had anything like that happen with it. So there's a little beetle on my desk. Hello, little beetle. What are you? I don't know if you can see this. Oh, see ya. Special guest star, Tiny Beetle. But yeah, I've seen too many easy ups go upside down at art festivals just because the weather got really bad and they didn't have any weight. Like I've been to events, not so much fancy art festivals, but like other like, you know, arts and crafts events that I would do, where people had like no weight on their easy ups whatsoever and their tent just flipped over at the slightest breeze. Like I did one once where a guy, he was literally sitting in a chair holding one of the legs down behind him because it was so windy and he could not get up to talk to people coming to his tent because if he got up, his tent would flip over. Anyway, moving on. Purse dogs. I definitely see a bunch of those. They're always appreciated. All dogs are welcome in my tent. Is this your art? Yep. I get asked that so many times. I mean, I understand where they're coming from, where because some cases you might, you know, it might be the spouse or something, like where that happens sometimes, where Steph will do a festival and I'm there helping her, but I'm not selling. So, but if she's going to the bathroom, I'm the only person there, and obviously it's not my art, but it's it is always funny when I get asked that. Made booth. For those who don't know, that means if you made back the money you spent to be there, which can range from $50 to $1,000 depending on the art festival you're doing, or even more. For example, the East Lansing Art Festival I'm doing this May, it is like $350 for 2 days, which is a lot. It's an investment, but it's always my best show every year, and so I've always more than made my money back at East Lansing, which is why I keep doing it. So in that scenario, if I made at least $350, I would have made booth, but that would not really be a great show. I mean, you don't want to lose money, but you do want to make money too. It's for that type of thing. Usually my bare minimum metric for a good show is I want to make at least 3 times booth at the minimum to consider, coming back to the show, which in that case would be, let's do some math, $1,050. Yeah, approximately. So, because if you just make booth, you're just paying to be there. If you make 2 times booth, then you at least you've earned, in that case, I would have earned an extra $350, which is good. But art festivals are, 10-hour days, and that's just the show days. If like East Lansing and Friday is a setup day, that's like gonna be 5 hours, and there's travel and stuff. So like even if I did double booth for $700, I would not consider that a super successful show. I mean, I would here because it's a local show, so I'm not spending money to stay anywhere. It's a 10-minute drive. Like that would be okay. I still, given my past years at East Lansing, I would not consider that a great show, but it would at least be somewhat successful. But when you start getting like 3, 4, 5, 10 times booth, then you're making the real money, because you don't just want to cover your expenses. You want to actually take in money to pay for your time, to pay for your materials and all that sort of stuff. Like just covering the cost of your booth isn't really, I mean, you are making your money back, but you are still in the big picture losing money because you're spending other money and time to be there. So this has been Art Festival Business 101 with Grunkle Dan. You're welcome. Always happy to talk about that. And the last square, Screaming Kids. Oh boy. Yep. Bless their little hearts. We definitely experienced plenty of that at art festivals. Okay.